How's it going, everybody there on YouTube? It's Haight here, coming back at you with another Titanfall 2 video. In this video, I want to do something a little bit different for you guys. Since we got the stats page, I want to go over the stats page, or at least my stats, and kind of talk about them a little bit, and maybe show you guys what I feel about certain weapons based on the stats that I can see. And it's kind of interesting to take a look at. So I hope you guys all enjoy it.
Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas, pilots! GG, Nari!
So let's go ahead and take a look at my overview. Time played. As of right now, I've got about 3 days, 1 hour, and 2 minutes. 490 games played. 306 games won, putting me at a 62% win average. That's pretty high, I feel, considering most of the time I really only play solo. It's hard to find people to play with sometimes. Out of those 490 games played, I have about 168 times being MVP. I think that's pretty high, actually. In the top 3, about 380. This is where I find it very interesting. So the most kills is 1,906, and that's with the Volt. That's obviously also my most used at about 11 hours and 26 minutes. I really do like the Volt. Where it gets a little bit more interesting, the Devotion is my most efficient weapon. And I think that's for a couple of reasons. The high rate of fire that the Devotion does when it's wound up, and the amount of damage it does while wound up, kind of net me that total. I think that it's the most prominent when you have, say, 3 or 4 pilots coming at you all at once. If you're using the Volt, it takes a little bit longer, the TTK, to kill those pilots, and you can't really kill all of them. Whereas if you have the Devotion wound up firing at such a high rate of fire and doing so much damage, you can literally mow through all of those pilots at once. So looking at my kill death ratio, I'm sitting at about 3.0, which I think is fairly high. My last 10 games, about 3.7. I think that's due to the fact that a lot of people are getting this game for Christmas, and it's kind of like Christmas noob farming. So my lifetime average versus players, sitting at about 1.7. Last 10 games, 2.6, so higher. I think that's a lot of the influx of the new players getting the game and getting wrecked. So let's look at time. So we know I've got about 3 days played. It's interesting to see I have 18 hours in the air. That's more than I thought. 2 hours while running. I play a lot of game modes where you're predominantly as a pilot. So time by class, 70% as a pilot as opposed to 30% in my Titan. Time by Titan, now this is very interesting too. Tone, 6 hours, 45 minutes, about 34%. I really liked Tone in the beginning, and honestly, I stopped playing Tone because so many people felt that Tone was so OP and he's just too good. So I kind of tried to branch out and maybe not use Tone as much. And I found that I really enjoyed using Northstar. And part of the reason I think I really enjoy using Northstar so much is he's got a higher level of difficulty. And I really miss the cluster missile from Titanfall 1. And hey, Tone's got the cluster missile in Titanfall 2. So I kind of fell in love. Northstar. I kind of fell in love with Northstar for that fact. Ion only got about almost 3 hours played with him. Ion's a lot of fun too, but he's also, I think, fairly easy to play. He's like ridiculously good at killing pilots. The laser shot, you could pretty much just take pilots out of the air with ease. Ronin, almost 3 hours, about 14% play with him. I have a hard time playing Ronin. I don't know if it's my play style that gives me such a difficult time playing with Ronin. I haven't quite mastered his phase dash in, attack tack, get out, phase dash, attack tack, slide out. I really like the Strider class from Titanfall 1. And when playing this almost Strider class in Titanfall 2, it's just so much more different. I think they can change Ronin a bit. I feel like his melee should hit harder than another Titan's melee considering he's got a sword. I think they're going to balance Ronin out a little bit more in the future. We'll have to take a step back and look at it, as I'm sure the community developers will do, and kind of see what needs to be buffed or tweaked a little bit with him. Now, Legion, 56 minutes, 5% played. I think for me, I like to get in the face of players. I like a faster Titan, and Legion is just so slow for me. And with the tweaks that they did with him, it is very hard, I feel at least, to kill pilots using the Legion. Like, I can have my crosshairs dead on a pilot, and it takes off half damage, and I'm still firing all these bullets, and the pilots just don't want to die. And I can't seem to get a good grasp on Legion. He is fun to play, but I think his ability to kill pilots, aside from its smart core, is so difficult. And when you're trying to get points and say like attrition, you know, pilots are worth 5 points. If you can't kill pilots and they're shooting you and rodeoing you, it's just so hard to gain points with him. Especially like when pilots are attacking you, he's so clunky and heavy. It's hard to get out of the way of rockets unless you have your gun shield up, things like that. So game modes played. There's no surprise here for me. Attrition sitting at about 54%. It's so hard to find games other than playing prime time. Sorry about the siren in the background here. It's so hard to find games other than attrition unless I'm playing in prime time. Attrition is the most played game type by far already, but the times that I play, which is usually really early mornings after work, there's almost no games to find at all. Second, Pilots vs. Pilots. I really fell in love with Pilots vs. Pilots when Titanfall 2 came out. It added something different from Titanfall 1. I know there was a similar game mode in Titanfall 1, but with having 8 versus 8, there's more things to kill. The map design kind of caters more to, I feel, Pilots vs. Pilots than it did in the first one. I'm not a huge fan of the map design so far, but I can see why Pilots vs. Pilots works really well with this like 3-lane game design theory. Last Titan Standing. I enjoy Last Titan Standing. Only got about 10% playtime played. It's fun. I was never a huge LTS player in the first place, so I played a lot when other players I play with really enjoy LTS. It's really fun for me when you're working as a team playing LTS. When you kind of solo queue in LTS, it can be kind of frustrating because you've got teammates doing God knows what and just derping around, and losing is no fun. I think a lot of people would agree with me. Amped Hardpoint, not a really huge fan, only about 6%. Capture the Flag, huge bummer for me there. That was probably 80% of my playtime in Titanfall. The original, I enjoyed Capture the Flag so much. So many great pickup games, so many good players, and it's sad to see that in Titanfall 2. It's like literally non-existent in my playtime. It's kind of frustrating and sad, really. Bounty Hunt, 5%, Coliseum, 3%, and Other, 1%. I'm not really sure what Other is. If somebody can leave me a comment in the comment section letting me know what that is, that would be really great to know. So, pilot weapons. Alternator, 67 headshots. A fun gun. I enjoy the Alternator. The Archer, I don't feel like it's as powerful as it is in Titanfall 1, so I haven't played it really that much. The Car, interesting weapon. I haven't played it too much. It's definitely, I feel, nerfed from the original. Charge Rifle, one of my favorite weapons from Titanfall 1. Also a really good weapon in Titanfall 2. Got about an hour and 15 minutes time used. 123 critical shots. 71 kills. Cold War. I have not even used this weapon once yet. DMR, haven't used this weapon at all. Devotion, 4 hours, 7 minutes. A lot of headshots, 109, 73 crits, 762 kills. Double Take, have not used it. EPG, 1 headshot, not a lot of kills there, only 21. The shotgun, I haven't really used that too much. I've never really been a big shotgun player. Flatline, I really do like this weapon. I've got about 479 kills with it. 75 headshots, it's not too bad. G2, I really like the G2. I feel like it is pretty well balanced in its current state. Hemlock, definitely a little bit overpowered coming from Titanfall 1, I feel. I'm not a big fan of using the Hemlock. Wasn't a big fan of it in the first one either. I can kind of take it or leave it. Kraber, one of my favorite weapons. 5 hours, 25 minutes used. 403 kills. I use the Kraber a lot just to kind of capture game clips. I'm putting together a montage, and a lot of cool Kraber shots will be in there, so stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe so you know when that montage comes out. There's going to be a lot of cool Kraber stuff there. I really enjoyed the Kraber because it's so difficult to use, and when you hit a clip streak with the Kraber, you really feel good about yourself, just based on how challenging the Kraber can be to use. L-Star, terrible weapon. Even with the buffs they added to it, I feel like it's just a crap weapon. I don't know what they can do to this, but it's just one of those guns that we didn't really need. It doesn't really fit a niche, I feel. I don't know, maybe let me know what you guys think. Maybe you can find a certain niche loadout for it, but I certainly haven't found one yet. MGL, I really like this weapon. I had to stop using because I was using other anti-tank weapons to level up. About an hour used, not bad. Mastiff, haven't really used this other than a few games. I only have 13 minutes playtime. I don't have a whole lot of kills with the pistols, as we'll see here. Mozambique, about 6 minutes used, 1 headshot. The P2016, only about 8 kills. R201, my favorite weapon from Titanfall 1. Honestly, I would probably be using this weapon as my main if it wasn't for the insane volt accuracy on a hipfire. I mean, you don't even need the ADS with the volt, where with the R201 you almost 90% of the time need the ADS. I mean, it does have a decent hipfire, but nothing compared to the volt. I'm really surprised to see that something replaced my 201 carbine when I started playing Titanfall 2. I mean, I was such a diehard carbine user coming from Titanfall 1, and I used it a lot until I found the volt and kind of fell in love with that. R97, played a little bit with it, about an hour. Auto pistol, a lot of fun. I used to use this a lot in attrition just for mowing down grunts. The SMR, pretty much only use this playing LTS. The softball, I use a little bit just to try and get some game clubs. A lot of fun to use, interesting weapon. I'm glad they added it in Titanfall 2. Spitfire, man, this weapon is just terrible in Titanfall 2. It's nothing compared to what it was in Titanfall, the original. They need to do some tweaks there, I feel, to kind of bring back the glory to the Spitfire. Thunderbolt, I really enjoyed this weapon, although I think it does too little of damage. What I mean by that is, if you hit a pilot with this weapon at full health, I really do feel like it should one-shot them. It travels so slow. If you actually hit a pilot and it does 80% damage, it's kind of a major letdown. Like, I've been trying to goose pilots with this, as crazy as it is, but I almost have to hope that they've been damaged in some sense on the way up or on the way down, to where if it hits them, it actually kills them. And it doesn't do a whole lot of damage to Titans. I think it really needs to be buffed. The Thunderbolt is such a fun weapon to use. It's a shame that it does such little damage. The Volt, my favorite by far, 11 hours, 26 minutes, 8,149 shots hit, 255 headshots, 169 crits, 1,906 total kills, 1,200 pilots, 4 Titans, and 545 AI. Definitely my favorite weapon by far. It shows by my playtime. Wingman, another weapon I like a lot. Only use about 4 minutes. 3 headshots, 7 pilot kills. Wingman Elite, 4 headshots, 22 kills. Looking at this, I feel like it's not really adding up everything that I've done with these weapons. I feel like Some of them are a little bit behind, or maybe all the stats haven't been added. Just something to keep in mind. Let's go on to Titans. Ion. Almost 3 hours used. Total kills about 235. Scorch about 2.5 hours played. Total kills 325. North Star 4 hours 7 minutes. Like I said before, I really fell in love with North Star, so I've been using North Star a lot more lately. 517 kills there. Ronin, only 2 hours and 51 minutes. Haven't really done a whole lot. Only 168 kills there. That's an interesting next unlock. Do not touch. I haven't seen that. Tone, 6 hours, 45 minutes. 443 pilots killed with this weapon. I really enjoy killing pilots with Tone. It's very easy once you get the hang of goosing pilots with Tone. Unlike Titanfall 1, which I'm a little bit sad about because it was so fun to 40 mil pilots in Titanfall 1 because there was a level of difficulty there that you had to attain that made it a lot harder than it is in Titanfall 2. I don't know what it is. I think maybe the splash damage in Titanfall 2 is larger, has a larger radius, so it's easier to kill pilots. I'm not sure. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments. Legion, my least used, 56 minutes played, only 130 kills. Like, look at that. 130 compared to 443. That's pretty crazy. So on to miscellaneous. First strike 68, 312 boosts, 30 evacs, 20 successful, 756 Titans called in. Our Titans killed 133, 341 ejections, 37 kills while ejecting. I think that number would be higher if I used nuclear ejection, but I don't because it's kind of cheese. And some other stuff there on the right that's just random numbers. Nothing really significant there. So there's a look at my stats. Currently right now I'm sitting at Gen 6.16. So let me know in the comment section what you guys think about my stats page. You think I'm above average, below average, kind of right there in the middle. I'm really happy they added the stats page back to Titanfall 2. It kind of gives you something to look at. You know, something when you're bored, you can take a look and kind of see how you've been averaging the past few games, your lifetime average. I don't feel like stats really say too much about like what type of play you are or how good you are. It's just something interesting that you can maybe set a benchmark for yourself and compare yourself over the past 10 games, kind of see like what works best for you. So I'm glad it's definitely there. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think about having a stats page in Titanfall 2. And leave me a comment. I reply to every comment and I really enjoy seeing your guys' comments, so feel free to do so. If you enjoy Titanfall 2 content, make sure you either subscribe to my channel, like this video if you like it. If you dislike it, leave it a dislike. As always, I'm Haight. GG, no re.
The art of a good death, until my very last step. The stereo blast past buried gas for breath. The fact I don't care is an invaluable asset. An infallible flow here, not a challenge I haven't met. Forced to find balance in beats and raw talent. Free speech